This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the Dell Inspiron 13 7000 again. We've reviewed this a couple of times over, but this is something new here. This has Intel's 7th generation Kaby Lake CPUs inside. So what does that mean? A little bit better battery life, runs a little bit cooler. This is a dual-core Ultrabook. This doesn't ever really run hot. Anyway, we're going to look at it now. So as a little refresher, if you haven't watched our Inspiron 13 video before, Inspirons come in a bunch of sizes, well, several sizes. This is the 13.3 inch. They come in different quality or series level. There's 3,000, 5,000, and 7,000. The 13 inch comes in 5,000 and 7,000. There's currently no 3,000 level. So the 7,000 is the highest end configuration. This is model 7378. We have the starting price unit, which is $749. It's nicely configured. It has 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM, a 256 gig SATA SSD, and a Intel Core i5-7200U dual-core 15-watt Ultrabook CPU. You can get it with up to 16 gigs of RAM. You can get it with bigger SSDs, and you can get a Core i7 if you want to have a Core i7, and you can do the RAM and SSD upgrades yourself later. We'll take a look at the internals so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, opening this up is actually pretty easy. Standard little Phillips head screws, teeny size. They're Phillips head 1 screws. Just where the holes are, just unscrew them, and then this comes off. There's the plastic clips are not obnoxious or anything like that. So what do we see inside? There's the battery, 42 watt hour. Here is your M2 SSD SATA interface there, not PCIe. Sorry about that. And here we have, under the nice little cover, look, two RAM slots. That's pretty nice. A lot of Ultrabooks, they just have, you know, RAM is soldered on. In this case, you actually get slotted. So 8 gigs of RAM there. So that'll be a single channel configuration. But if you want to put your own 8 gig module in afterwards, which I recommend, it's probably going to be more affordable than going for the top of the line model from Dell. Just get 16 gigs of RAM. Just buy an 8 gig module DDR4 SODIMM for around 50 bucks or so, and you got dual channel 16 gigs. That's pretty nice for an Ultrabook, especially in this price range. And the Wi-Fi card is here again, the Intel 3165 AC. So that's Intel's lower end card that falls below the 8160, which is their high end one that you'll find on the $1,000 and up laptops. This is a convertible. Gone is the official pen support. Now, if I use the old Dell Synaptics pen with this, the screen does wild, uncontrollable things. So I suspect there's a digitizer that's not enabled in firmware. But anyway, don't expect to be able to use an active pen with it. Touchscreen, yes. Convertible, yes. So you got tent mode, you got presentation mode, you got tablet mode, all of those sort of things. So it's a versatile device. It weighs 3.86 pounds. That's kind of heavy there, and that's equal to 1.75 kilograms for you metric folks out there. Dell really hasn't changed the design and thus the weight, so it's getting a little on the heavy side, but they figure since you're paying less, $750, and you're getting this nice metal chassis here and firm build, well, that you should be okay with that. I would like them to see to actually do a little refresh of this and actually update the design, maybe drop the weight, but that said, it is very durable. It's kid-friendly. If you have a 12-year-old who needs a laptop, I would say this is pretty darn sturdy. This is real brushed aluminum here. This is real metal here. You got real metal on the bottom. So it's a well-made, sturdy product, especially for 750 bucks. For those of you who like the Dell XPS 13, but that's just too much money for you, really, for the nice configurations there. They're over $1,000. This one is, you know, a lot more approachable. Plus, you get that versatile convertible design. The keyboard and the trackpad are unchanged from the previous generation here, and that's fine. This is a very good precision trackpad here. It behaves nicely. I enjoy using it. It supports 2-finger gestures. There it is. The keyboard is not bad. It's a low travel keyboard, so there's that. You know, but I still find it a little bit more cushy, and it feels a little more damped as the key hits the bottom than the XPS 13, so I actually prefer this a little bit. It's backlit in white. Gets the job done. Nice stuff. The design touches in general are very thoughtful, intelligent. I like the way it just curves ever so slightly here because it's more comfortable to reach the touchpad, and it makes it look a little classier. You got your rubber feet to stop the screen from hitting and getting key marks on your display. One place where they fall a little short on that brilliance is the power button is fine over here. They often put them on the side along with the volume key for convertibles, and I don't accidentally hit this. It's a little bit stiffer, but the volume rockers, I am constantly hitting those when I pick it up. Doesn't take much to activate those. They need to either be stiffer or to be recessed. It's not the end of the world, but it's just something worth mentioning. Port selection is pretty healthy for an Ultrabook too, and maybe a little bit easier than the XPS 13 to work with if you want a lot of legacy, or shall we say traditional ports. You get an SD card slot, full-size SD card slot, a USB 2.0 port, a USB 3.0 port, and a USB-C port. Doesn't do Thunderbolt 3 though, sorry, they want you to pay more to get that kind of feature. And you get HDMI out, and of course a headphone jack. No DisplayPort out. Again, under $1,000, less common to see DisplayPort, but at least you got HDMI. And of course wireless display is standard with Windows 10 as well. There is only one display resolution option, 1920 by 1080 full HD. It's an IPS display. Obviously it's glossy like most touchscreens. Only option. If you want something higher resolution, look to a different product here. Again, no official pen support, not really even unofficial. So capacitive stylus is all you can do. Subjectively, it actually looks quite nice. Movies and videos, photos, they all look good on it. But looking at it with the calibration device, we can see that 220 nits of brightness, not the brightest thing out there. So if you're going to use this in bright outdoor locations, not so much, especially because it's glossy. Fine for indoors. And color gamut is more limited than you would think. 66% of sRGB. The around $1,000 products cover all of sRGB, or 95%. Only 50% of Adobe RGB. So for you photo and video pros, despite the fact that it looks quite nice, it really lacks the color gamut that you would need. For the rest of the world, it's perfectly adequate. And you can see the rest of the specs on screen there. All decent stuff. In terms of performance, this is a 15-watt dual-core Ultrabook Intel 7th generation Kaby Lake. Again, you've got a Core i5-7200U and Core i7-7500U CPU options here. We have the Core i5, and it benchmarks, well, as you would expect, and not that much different than the Skylake it replaces, unless you're looking at graphics, because now we have Intel HD 620 graphics, and that makes a 7 to 10% improvement over Skylake's integrated HD 520 graphics. The CPU, just a tiny bit better there, but every little boost in graphics helps. It's not a gaming laptop, obviously. There's no dedicated graphics option, but for casual games and older games, you can get away with it. It's perfectly capable to be a main machine if you do Office, if you do casual photo and video editing on occasion. Beginning software developer, that sort of thing, does the job just fine. The battery is a 3-cell battery. That's about average battery capacity for a laptop of this size. And the last generation Inspiron 13 had okay battery life, nothing special, about 6 hours. This is a little bit better because Kaby Lake is a little bit more power efficient. It's about 6.5 hours with brightness set to a not terribly tolerable 50% because it's not a very bright display, and doing productivity work and streaming video. If you're going to do heavyweight stuff, it'll be shorter. So super duper Energizer Bunny, not so much. Okay, passable, yes. And it comes with a tiny, tiny little brick charger, 45 watts, very portable. Rounding it out, you got a 720p webcam up top and a Windows Hello IR camera for facial recognition and login. And you get Intel 3165 AC Wi-Fi. That's Intel's lower end Wi-Fi card plus Bluetooth. Not as high as the 8160, for example, but it's behaving pretty decently in our tests. There you have it. The Dell Inspiron 13 is 7000 series model for late 2016, early 2017. Intel 7th generation CPUs inside. It's obviously, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of approach from Dell. They haven't really changed a whole lot here. And as a result, it's still a really good buy and a very well-made machine with a metal casing and all that goodness inside. But in terms of weight and thickness, it's getting a little long in the tooth, but you're also saving some money too, aren't you? That said, I do hope at some point it gets a little slimmer. I know in part though they are designing it to be kid friendly because a lot of folks buy this for school. I'm talking K through 12, not college even. So the thickness lends a bit of durability. For $750, it's a nice machine. I'm Lisa from MobileTechReview. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos, and thumbs up if you liked it.